What's going on, guys? So today we're going to be discussing the Seahawks 2023 to 2024 NFL season, and I'll be giving my thoughts on it. So let's get started. So first game of the season, if y'all really want to look at preseason, I guess we almost won all three straight. We lost to the Packers, but it doesn't matter. But the first game of the season, I remember watching almost all the game, and I was like, wow, this is I've never seen a Seahawks team play this bad. And it showed with Matthew Stafford playing exceptionally well, throwing for 334 yards, and Kyron Williams did most of the work on the ground with 2 touchdowns, and Tutu Atwell destroyed us receiving wise. And remember, if we go player stats, Seahawks, Geno, uncharacteristic of him. He usually doesn't play that bad, and it was very off to see him play like that. And run game really wasn't existent. Kenneth Walker did okay. DK caught a touchdown. That was really the only score that we had of the game. And Bobby got 8 tackles, as always, always getting around the ball. He's great. And they obviously had a good run game, 52 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 𝓑𝓸𝔀𝓮 and Tutu both lit us up. It was a rough day to be a Seahawks fan. And then games again. We go to then week 2, where we go into Detroit and beat them in overtime, 37-31. This was Geno's best game of the season by far, throwing for 328 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Jared Goff had 323, 3 touchdowns and an interception. And this game, I remember, started off pretty slow for both teams. Then we picked up pace, and then they picked up pace, and then got a lead, and then we came back, tied it, then they got it, scored, then we tied, and then we eventually won in overtime with a Lockett touchdown. Run game, pretty good on both sides. We got 43 yards, and Kenneth Walker got 2 touchdowns, and David Montgomery got 67 yards and a touchdown. Meanwhile, Amon-Ra St. Brown lit us up, and DK got a casual 75 yards. And, it was just a great game to watch. I really think that was a game. We always play good against Detroit, and I'm glad that we won that game. That was definitely a classic of the season. Go to next game. Oh, yeah. Back at home against the Panthers, who were 0-2 at that point, and, they torched us in the secondary. Not going to lie. Andy Dalton kind of cooked us. They didn't really have a run game. Miles Sanders had a small touchdown, but our run game was definitely good that week with 97 yards, 2 touchdowns, DK 112 yards, and 6 receptions, and Adam Thielen getting 145 yards and a touchdown. And at that point, he was going off. DJ Chark just cooked us on that drive, I remember, and then Bobo got a touchdown, and that pretty much put us away from them. 2-1, feeling pretty good about the season at this point, I remember. And then where is it? We go into New York, and they were 1-2, and we were 2-1, and the game started out pretty slow. I remember they took a lead, and then we just ran away with it with Geno, 110 yards, touchdown. He got injured, and Drew Lock came in and threw a almost near touchdown to Noah Fant. Kenneth Walker, always consistent, in my opinion. Always doing good. Noah Fant, 2 receptions, 63 yards. We didn't have much of a pass game, but the run game definitely helped that night. Danny Dimes, he did okay besides the interceptions. It's still not a good stat line, but he did all right. He literally did most of the work. Passing and rushing. And Matt Breida led them in receiving, which was strange to see, but Seahawks were 3-1. Looked very good going in go into Cincinnati, and at that point they were 2-3, and we were 3-1. This looked like a game that we were supposed to win, and we should have. But Geno had an off day, throwing 2 really bad interceptions, and throwing for really good 326 yards, but it just wasn't enough with Joe Burrow throwing 2 touchdowns and having the off interception. Run game, Kenneth Walker did pretty good. Joe Mixon didn't really have much. Jamar Chase, he did all right. Lockett led us. He got most of those yards on the last drive, but we just couldn't punch it in. We had like 3 chances to go up by like a touchdown. We just couldn't get it done. And yeah, 3-2, looking all right. Should have been 4-1. We go back home to Seattle to play the Cardinals. They're 1-5. We're 3-2. Or yeah, they're 1-5. We're 3-2. Pretty much a dominant game all around. On every side of the ball, Geno doing really well. Kenneth running the ball pretty well. Jackson Smith-Njigba finally got his first touchdown. It was good for the city of Seattle that game, and the fans were happy. And Jake Bobo made an insane toe tap touchdown. I'll play it real quick.
From the 18-yard line, Smith with time, throws to the end zone.
Like, literally, dude, you can't tell me that just wasn't insane. I mean, he literally, I remember seeing, I was like, dude, he definitely got in. That literally, that guy put it, that could have been the catch of the year. I'm not playing. That was insane. Alright, so then we go back here. Geno, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. I remember he had that, like, really bad, I think it was like a tip ball interception. It wasn't terrible. Had a pretty good game. Just had to work on those interceptions, and, yeah, the rookies and the veteran got a touchdown, so it was good. 4-2, looking pretty good. Then we go to... we stay home against the Browns, and we were pretty much beaten all game up until the point where they threw that tipped interception at the end. I think it was caught by Julian Love, and then we went down the field and scored with a Jackson Smith-Njigba touchdown to take a late lead, and yeah, we held on. So it was 24-20, good. Philip Walker had 2 really bad interceptions. Definitely helped us win the game. Geno, 2 interceptions. Looked off again. But he had 2 touchdowns and 254 yards, so it wasn't bad. Kenneth Walker did pretty good. Lockett led us in receiving. And, yeah, 5-2. Looked like a team that could make a deep run. I think at this point we were leading the NFC West, and I was like, dang, we could actually win the division if things go our way. And then we go to Baltimore and get destroyed by 34 points. And at this point, I was like, Baltimore's literally the team to beat at this point. Like, no one's stopping them. I thought maybe we had a chance to make it close, but nope, it was terrible. Geno, off again, interception, 157 yards, not him. Lamar Jackson didn't really throw for that much, but the majority of the points and everything was run off Keaton Mitchell, and Kenneth Walker was quiet, while Jackson Smith-Njigba led us in receiving. So 5-3, not terrible. And then go back home against Commanders. Barely beat the 4-5 Commanders. 29-26. At this point, the Commanders looked pretty good. They were actually making a move on us that whole entire game. Like, it was back and forth, punch after punch. Geno, 2 touchdowns, 369. Bounced back. Definitely second best game of the year. Sam Howell looked pristine until we forced a fumble late in the third quarter. Kenneth Walker, casual 63 yards, not bad, and DK led receiving again. And then Lockett got a touchdown, and Kenneth Walker got the 64-yard dump-off pass touchdown. So that's the majority of where Geno would have only had like 305 yards. So wasn't a bad game. 6-3, good playoff spot. I think we were the fifth seed, looking like we could make some noise. This is the game that pivoted our season. So Geno 233 yards, a touchdown. Matt Stafford 1 touchdown, 1 interception. This was a game that we pretty much had in the bag. We had a 10-point lead going into the third quarter, and we let it slip away completely. Like, it was the worst I've seen us sell a game, and Jason Myers missed like a 50-yard field goal at the end to what could have been the game winner. So, yeah, that pretty much changed our season forever. Because, I mean, DK, he helped us in the game. We just could not do anything to keep the Rams from coming back. So, yeah, 6-4, looking okay. Wasn't terrible. Then we get to Thanksgiving, and this is when things started to really go downhill because the Niners were looking red hot. They were like 7-3. We were 6-4. This was pretty much a game to take a lead in the division, and as you can see, Brock Purdy 209 touchdown, uncharacteristic interception. Geno looked off, had a pick that Charvarius Ward somehow came up with. I still don't know. McCaffrey pretty much shredded us. Charbonnet really didn't do much, and Njigba led us. Like, this was such a terrible game. I think the touchdown that we got was an interception. Yeah, Jordan Brooks interception. So, yeah, we're 6-5. Then we go to Dallas. This game literally still pisses me off to this day. I mean, literally, this was Geno's, I think, tied for first best game with 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, and that 1 interception by Darren Bland, which was a crazy interception. Dak, 299, 3 touchdowns. Pretty much surgical. Like, Dak, he was cooking. Charbonnet, 19 carries, 60 yards, touchdown. He was doing good. Pretty much the same stats. Pollard. DK literally had his best game of the season, and we still lost. 6 receptions, 134 yards, 3 touchdowns, and we still lost. So, we're 6-6. I was mildly depressed that we probably weren't going to make the playoffs, and little did I know. Well, you can look it up yourself. You know what happened. We go to San Fran. We lose again. We somehow played them better on the road than at home. It makes no sense. This team amazes me. Geno got hurt that game, I think, with a groin injury. He got hurt after the Cowboys game. I think he took a hit on like the leg because he was sliding out of bounds, and it was like a really bad leg injury. But 6-6. Go to San Fran. Lose 6-7. Drew Lock, 2 touchdowns, 269. The interceptions were just kind of heave, like once to try and get us back in the game. Brock Purdy, 368 on 19 completions, 2 touchdowns. Our defense got torched again. Zach Charbonnet did decent. Tyler Lockett doing Tyler Lockett things. DK scored. One of the most insane catches I've seen him make. Parkinson kept us in the game. Didn't get the 2-point, and then Kittle put it away for them. So, yeah, 6-7, looking real great. Then we go home. Go back home. We play the Eagles at home. This was a game that we were not supposed to win. The Eagles were kind of in a slump, but they were doing okay. They're 10-3. They were beating us for most of the game. Then we started to slowly trend to coming back. Jalen Hurts 143, 2 interceptions. Not at all good. This is like something that Geno put up like 2 weeks before that. Drew Lock. Geno is still injured. 208 yards, touchdown, pretty much all you can ask for. Kept us in the game. Kenneth Walker, 19 carries, 86 yards, and a touchdown. Touchdown they scored. Drew Block threw a block a block at the end of the play to get Walker into the end zone. So that is pretty much, that was the changing play, and the last minute touchdown to Jackson Smith and Jigba at the very end. That's still that play right there definitely was my favorite moment of the year. Him making that play, it was awesome. I mean, he had 2 game-winning touchdowns this year. He was such a good rookie. I think he had a great year. 7-7, above 500 for the first time. Going to Tennessee, we win this game. We looked terrible the first half, like the worst I've seen us play. Second half, Geno lights it up, 227, 2 touchdowns. Tannehill, 152 yards. Derrick Henry, the king, 88 yards and touchdown. I remember they scored a touchdown late to put them up, but Geno cannot be stopped in the fourth quarter, so we win 2017, 8-7. We're back in the playoff picture because the Lions beating the Vikings, so it was looking good. And then New Year's Eve, it just all fell apart. Like, we played good against the pass. We did pretty good. Mason Rudolph, 274 yards. Like, we were holding them very well. Not holding, but, like, we were keeping them on lockdown pretty well. But Geno just, I mean, he did what he could, 290 yards, 1 touchdown. Almost had 2 picks, but they were dropped because, I don't know, Steelers were just having a hard time catching. They were 9-6. No, they were 8-7 coming in. It was pretty much the even matched game. Najee, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty much their run game destroyed us. Kenneth Walker, 53 yards, touchdown, and then DK, 106 yards. Like, him and George Pickens, they went off, but they came out on top with Jalen Warren and Najee. So 8-8. That game would have pretty much put us in the playoffs, but we lost. So then we had to go to Arizona. We won, but at the cost of losing out in the playoffs because of the Packers beating the Bears. And Geno, 189 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kyler, 262, a touchdown. I mean, he did really good against us, but our defense clutched up at the end, and their kicker missed 2 kicks that would have had them 26-21 final. So, I guess a good note to the end of the season, but an underperformed season by far. And Lockett did pretty good. So, I don't know, man. This season should have been an 11-win season. I mean, we had like 3 games we should have won, and we just let it slip by us. So, I mean, 9-8's okay, but as you know, Pete got fired, so head coaching job is still up for the Seahawks. But honest opinion, out of 10, this season was probably a 6. I mean, finished above 500, so that's why it's a 6. But we should have made the playoffs, which would have made it an 8. So I don't know, but there's a bright future for this team, and I'm feeling it next year. So yep. But that's my video. Thank you guys so much for watching my video and going through each game with me and my overview on what I thought about this team this season. So make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and turn on those noties. Alright, see you on the next one. Peace.